Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E.G. Black, and this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
Minute 40 is basically just Phil picking up on Nancy, following the same playbook as Ned Ryerson. Somewhat. We start with him seeing her, and he does he straight up does the Ned thing. Ned was like, Phil Connors. And Phil's thing here is Nancy Taylor. He's acting excited, saying her name multiple times. He's drawing attention, creating a connection. Meanwhile, in the background, we hear a little bit of the lyrics still. Pick out your partner and join in the fun. The song is right on the nose. Phil is picking out a partner and joining in the fun. He's in the time loop, having fun with it. The universe is challenging him. Have some fun, do this. And then it says, the Pennsylvania Polka. And he says, Lincoln High School, I sat next to you in Mrs. Walsh's English class. He's playing I don't know how big, I guess Lincoln High School was a public school. So probably pretty big. What if, by chance, Mrs. Walsh's class the seating chart was alphabetical? Then in a moment, when he says his name is Phil Connors, Nancy Taylor would have room to be confused if he wasn't still talking. But he just plays it. I knew who sat next to me in classes, even when it wasn't alphabetical. Sitting next to me in Mr. Larison's English class, which I mentioned last minute, AP English senior year. Well, AP was weirder because that would have been some juniors and seniors together. What juniors were in AP English my senior year? I know sitting right next to me was Mark, who was a friend of mine. We'd known each other since second grade. He was in my class, my grade. Behind me in AP English, I don't know. Actually, Mark, I think, was diagonal behind me by one. Next to me, I think, was, what was her name? Joy? Was Joy in that class? Wow. Okay, maybe I can't remember all this. He might have a thing. Now, you get me out of the AP class where it's just people from my grade and I'll remember. Like 2 years earlier, sophomore English, I know that sitting next to me would have been, Mark was nearby for sure. I think he was in the front. Amy Yetka was behind him. Behind me, because I was sitting in the front corner. Right behind me was Sonny, and I often was sitting sideways so I could talk to her and Amy. And Mark, although Mark didn't often engage because he didn't want to get in trouble or break the rules. So I got in trouble for talking in the class a lot. But I would remember who was there. I would remember if someone named Phil Connors was there. If you said a name of someone in my class, I could tell you, yeah, they were in there. Even if I can't immediately come up with a list now for everybody. She doesn't immediately remember him. Oh, I'm sorry. And she means it. She feels bad that she doesn't recognize this person from high school. And that's nice. We should see what's coming and feel bad for Nancy already. Now he says his name. Phil Connors. All she's got is a name. She's like, wow, that's amazing. Like that they ran into each other. It's nice. Like, actually, it is, in a way. That she apparently grew up in Pittsburgh and he grew up in Cleveland and they happened to see each other in Punxsutawney is amazing. Yes. And he calls her on it. Unlike Ned, Phil calls her on her lying to respond to lying. You don't remember me, do you? She says, And he adds a bigger lie. But it's also one you don't want to admit you don't remember. If this is true, you don't want to forget this person. I even asked you to the prom. She should remember that. But also, she probably had a few guys ask her to the prom. Who knows? But she now, remembering his name from just a moment ago, says, Phil Connors? And he adds more information. Not helpful, but specifics are good. It makes the lie feel real. I was short and I've sprouted. She takes a moment. Yeah, gosh, how are you? She's catching up. She is buying into the lie. And he says, great. You look terrific. You look very, very terrific. He's already forced her to lie herself in order to keep up with his lies because she doesn't want to admit she doesn't remember this guy who asked her to the prom and who sat next to her. And now he's complimenting her. He's got her. He's got her on the hook. And then he adds the extra element that really gets her attention. Listen, I gotta go do this report. And she gets it. She's like, are you a reporter? And he says, I'm a weatherman with Channel 9 Pittsburgh. Wow, gosh, I should have known. That's great. And, I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, you grew up in Pittsburgh and then you probably still watch the Channel 9 news occasionally, because I'm sure it reaches Punxsutawney. If she lives there. No, she does live there. She works in the dress shop. She does work in Punxsutawney. She's not a tourist. She's a local. She's a townie. She should have known. She should have recognized him. It actually would be really funny if he tried this and she did recognize weather guy Phil Connors, but does not remember him from high school, because then it gets weirder, because then the lie's got to get strange. But because she doesn't recognize him as that, it works. He continues. But maybe later we could. She's like, yeah, whatever. Like, he's kind of asking her out, and she's in. She's like, I'll go out with a guy who works for... He's got a Channel 9 Pittsburgh job, and he's a weatherman. This guy's got money. And he's secure in who he is. And he says, stay right here. Promise me. And she does this weird thing where she points at the spot she's standing with both hands. Points down with her little white mittens. And she says, yes. And he says, okay, and the minute ends. That is step 2 in the Phil Connoring of Nancy Taylor. Or as I called it the first time in my blog, time loop date rape. Because, there's a question of morality here. We are given, as I've said the last several minutes, we're given enough fuel to be forgiving of some of this behavior of Phil's. Nancy is so into him and buys into his lies and lies herself in response that we're like, yeah, it's okay if he asks her out. It'll get worse once with his lies when she's in his room. But for now, we're like, I think it might be okay maybe if she goes out with him. Like, we're not sure. We're not sure. We're still with him because it's funny. It'll get worse. But we're not there yet. That was minute 40. We'll get to the worse in minute 41 next time. Until then, go watch a movie or read a book or listen to some music, play a game, whatever it is that gets you out of the drudgery of the everyday, because the everyday ain't nice for most of us. Or if it's nice, it's still repetitive and it can be draining even when we enjoy it. Do something different. Do something fun. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. And let them take care of you.
You knew you were going to say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, lapping, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you know Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?